Hey, how's it going, Bruins? This is Josh Leamer,
And I'm Tony DiCino.
and we're here with your second ever UCLA Sports Discussion Forum. We're going to talk a little bit about the men's basketball team today. Starting off, they just won in the Bay Area. They swept Stanford and Cal.
Yes.
After they had struggled before that, they lost 3 of 4. What
Devastating
are your
home
feelings?
loss.
Yeah, especially the loss against Washington State. What are some of your thoughts on how this team has been performing?
Well, I mean, I thought they survived. The Stanford game was especially scary. I mean, I think we were down like 14 in the first half or something, and it was just really, really, like, if we had lost that one, we would have been done for sure. I think the victory against the Bears at Haas Pavilion was probably our biggest win of the season. It secured 2nd place for us, and like though Washington won at home against Arizona, even though we might not win the Pac-10 outright, well, we won't. I mean, we'll be lucky if we get a share of it. I think it's something we should latch onto and something we can grow from. We got to win our games against the Oregon schools this week, and then we got to bring that momentum into the Pac-10 tournament and hopefully just roll straight through the national tournament.
Yeah, and this season in many ways has been kind of a disappointment. People were expecting us to compete, be one of the top teams, like in contention for the 1 or 2 seed. And one of the main reasons that people were saying that was because of the fact that, we had the top recruiting class in the nation. But then they got here, and, other than Drew Holiday, who's been getting major minutes, but hasn't made necessarily the impact that one would expect if someone projected to go top 5 in this year's NBA draft, if he declared. He's been a good role player and a good starter, but not really, an earth-shattering prospect. And then the other 4, Drew Gordon and Jeremy Anderson and Malcolm Lee have had their moments. And, Bobo Morgan, who people were expecting to come in and, be a replacement for Kevin Love, has barely played at all.
Doesn't even play. And when he plays, it's sort of...
And then we're trying to relying more on some of the veterans. And so, do you feel like this freshman class was a disappointment so far into the season?
I don't know if it was a disappointment. It's just the expectations were so high for a team so young. I mean, last year we had Kevin Love coming into a very veteran team, like a team that knew what it was doing, and Kevin Love was the star. He was the stud. Everyone expected him to do great things, and he performed because he had veteran leadership to help him out. With this class, there's so many young people. I feel like there's a leadership void. Sure, Collison's there. Sure, we have Aboya
and Ship and Collison and Aboya. I mean, how much more leadership do you need?
It's not that. It's just there's so many young people, and like when there's one guy who's young, it's okay. Like they're able to bring him through. But all these young players.
Yeah, it's hard to develop 5 different players at once. But at the same time, we're not even like I don't even know if we're trying to develop Bobo Morgan or get them time.
Oh yeah, well he just needs to play better.
And it's frustrating, as a Bruin fan, because it's not just Kevin Love, but all around the country you've had these impact freshmen, coming in. Like 2 years ago, Kevin Durant coming in, making a huge impact, and then being a one and done. Last year, Kevin Love, not only him, but also you had O.J. Mayo. You had Derrick Rose coming in, one and dones, making these huge impacts, helping their team become better, and leave. And then now we're just seeing these 5 guys, and they're kind of more like freshmen in the terms of, they need development.
Right.
And so it's disappointing they can't just come in here. We expected, 5 players to be like, a team of like, Kevin Durant and Kevin Love.
Yeah,
and,
right.
The
next
O.J.
fabulous
Mayo,
5, right?
and, yeah, we expect them to be the next, Fab 5, like, from Michigan, who led their team to, the 2 Final Fours as, a team of 5 freshmen. And we expected it to be something like that, and they just haven't performed as well. Do you think they're going to, be able to perform next year?
Well, it just depends. I mean, I know Drew Holiday's considering the draft, which he showed. It's a particularly weak class this year. So it just depends. I think if he comes back and if everybody works hard together and they try to bond, like maybe, go on a road trip over the summer and become closer, I don't know, whatever it takes. Practice, and Bobo, you need to practice. Do something. I mean,
yeah.
It just takes time.
Yeah,
you can't just expect it to happen at once.
It's just a very disappointing season in terms of, first of all, not winning the Pac-10 outright,
outright,
and we're probably not going to be able to win it, even a share of it, because I think we can take care of the Oregon School. I don't think Washington is going to lose to Washington State in Seattle, and so they'll probably win the Pac-10 title outright, which people were expecting. People were declaring it to be UCLA's before the season was over. But some people don't think that that's as important. Like, here's a clip from Darren Collison talking about what he thinks the importance of the conference title is.
If we don't win the Pac-10 conference, the number one thing people remember is, who won the whole tournament, the NCAA tournament. And You know, they didn't talk about how we beat Stanford in the Pac-10 conference tournament. All they talked about is how we lost to Memphis for, the third straight time in the Final Four.
So those are some interesting comments from Darren. You know,
Mhm.
he's saying, no one remembered the victory over Stanford to win the Pac-10. Everyone just remembered the loss to Memphis. So do you think that not winning the Pac-10 is that big of a deal?
I mean, I think the Pac-10 definitely matters. It's not something you can just write off and say it's
Mhm.
worth nothing. I remember our victory over Stanford last year, the second game of the regular season, like here at home, and that was amazing. That was a great victory for our program.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-10 definitely means something because, in my opinion, if you want to say you're one of the best national programs in the country, you got to be able to take care of business in conference, and like it's something special to be able to say we've won 3 straight Pac-10 titles.
Mhm.
But I mean, he has a point. Collison definitely has a point here. Nobody really cares that much about the Pac-10 when you compare it to the national title.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure if we had won 3 national titles, we would be the biggest thing in the world right now. It would
That's
be
true.
ridiculous.
At the same time, I think like the fact that UCLA has become, an elite program again under Ben Howland has a lot to do with winning the Pac-10. Because the Final Fours is one thing, that's great, but at the same time, if we, just had these miraculous runs to the to the Final Four without winning the Pac-10, people would just be like, well, it might be a fluke. But the fact that we were able to take care of our own conference, become the team in the Pac-10 for the past 3 years, really helped take care of the prestige of the program. Like, people think Pac-10 equals UCLA
Right.
for the last 3 years. Like, when before, there's no way we could be established as an elite program under Steve Lavin when Arizona and Stanford were, winning the Pac-10 and all those other teams. So I think that winning the Pac-10 has a lot of importance, and people, at least recently have been thinking of UCLA as the team to beat in the Pac-10. Now Washington has stepped
it
and
up.
challenged that title. But
They challenge us every year, though.
let's hope UCLA, but in terms of winning the whole thing, let's just hope UCLA can get back on track for next year.
Hopefully.
And see if these freshmen can come together as a group and take over the void that's going to be left with Darren Collison leaving and Alfred Aboya and Josh Shipp. And
It's another big void.
And let's hope that they can get it together this weekend in the Pac-10 tournament, and then
Just go on a roll.
work on our seeding and see how far we can get into the tournament.
I mean, who knows how far we're going to get, but if we're hot, anything can happen. So.
Anything can happen. Well, keep watching dailybruin.com/dbtv for updates on the men's basketball team as it continues its journey to try to get to the Final Four again. A little harder this year,
A little harder this year, yes.
But we'll see how they can do. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Josh Leamer.
And I'm Tony DiCino. You stay classy, UCLA.
Thanks for watching, and see you later.
Good night.